So we are going to be doing a Mako 360 installation video today on this 2025 KTM 300 XCW Factory Edition. Bike looks slightly different, a little bit from factory with the different plastics on it and whatnot, but we're gonna get right into it. If you haven't had a Mako 360, oh man, they are absolutely incredible. They save my elbows and my wrists a lot now over long days of riding. In fact, it wasn't too long ago, I took a pretty long ride on one of our bikes that doesn't have a Mako, and my wrists and elbows were dang sore. So these really do help out. Super stoked, man. Mako is just an awesome product, but actually the company itself, xcgear, Lance is an absolute genius. The guy is an innovator, created something that nobody else had. I mean, this is really cool stuff. Not only that, really great guy, really excellent company, do a lot for the community. So check out Mako 360. You can buy them directly on their website. You can order them and get them custom engraved. You can also order them on Slaven's website. Slaven's has all the goodies in stock, all the different rubbers for your different riding abilities. They make them for softer, harder, depending on what you're really wanting. So awesome product, and we're going to kind of get right into it and get this guy installed today. So obviously, first things first, pull off the bar pad and get this guy going. These are 10 mil bolts here, and you're only going to need a few things to get this guy installed. There's not a whole lot to it. Get these 10s off. I like to kind of start them a little bit here on each one, just break them loose and then go to town on them. This thing is obviously something you want to keep around and know where it's at. So that when you sell the bike, you can actually put this guy back on and keep your Mako for another bike. That's the cool thing. Even if they change the bike design on how it mounts, Mako always comes up, xcgear always comes up with new inserts to mount an older Mako to a brand new bike. So that's what's awesome about it. The easy thing to do is just get your bars out of the way. I say it's an easy thing to do, but yeah, there you go. That's probably tucked away just enough there. Everything's kind of out of the way. So what you got here is you've got a 45 mil Torx to get these bottom guys off. So you just crack these dudes loose with the 45 mil, but I'll just hold the tire with my leg there without having the bars on. Pop that guy a little bit loose there. All right, so this extender made it a little bit easier to get into here. That wire is just kind of in the way a tad bit. Make sure that's nice and snug up in there, and then boom, loosen. Another nice product we got right here, crosslink component upper guards. It's actually giving me a little protection right here from this wrench. Pretty cool. If you don't know, that 2025 Husqvarna TE300 Pro is a giveaway bike. Check it out on our website, Ride-Tek.com, and we're giving that bike away. Super stoked. Enter to win is only $10. Take a look on our website. This is actually probably something that I would always have on every bike now. I just think that these are 100% worth it, man. They're freaking awesome. Not only that, who doesn't love supporting awesome companies? Getting to where we start pulling this whole guy apart here. Take that off there. All right, so the next thing, probably, to be honest with you, probably the more challenging part of this whole process is actually getting these guys out. They actually are a little bit in there pretty dang good. So get that guy out, pull it out with your finger, and they're slightly different on each one. The 25s are going to be the same, I believe, on all the bikes now, but if you had like a 23 bike, slightly different cones. 22 bikes will be slightly different cones there. So these guys just come down through the bottom, and probably the easiest way to get those guys out is just get a nice big wrench with a towel there, and you can feel where the wrench kind of goes in, and just boom, those guys will pop right down. And then boom, start to loosen those guys up. I can see they're coming out at the bottom there. take the socket off, actually make it a little easier. Put these rubber cones there. And the cool thing about this is that actually almost fits perfectly in there because that's rounded off as well. So that guy. All right, feel it going. And get them lined up again there so you're not causing any damage. People will pry those guys out with a screwdriver sometimes, I've seen on other videos, and you don't want to be prying on anything that's your anodized orange there or anodized black, depending on your bike, and you just don't want to be marring anything up. So really just the right way to do it is get the right tool and boom, look at that guy. Just shot out the bottom there. Boom, super easy. This one's already loose. It's gonna probably shoot out the bottom as well. It's almost there. So I'll just come around to the other side. Get that guy out. Boom. So look at this. Just good looking bike. What do we have here? Cone valves. I'm so excited to try those out. I've actually never had cone valves on any bike, so that'll be kind of fun to give those guys a go and see what they're all about. Everybody says they're awesome. So brand new packaging. I'm stoked because they actually engraved our top bar clamp. I have not had the SX version before, which is I think a little bit lighter, and I think it's actually slightly lower. I'll have to look that out for sure, but they've got our logo there, our other logo there. Stuff is just incredible quality. I've never had one bend. I've taken huge falls with them, all that stuff. So what you're looking for is all your hardware pieces here. This little guy is the yellow shark bite there, green, yellow, whatever color. They do have a huge amount of different settings that you can use. The cool thing about this is we got the blacked out bolts, the tie bolts that he put in there. Those are sick looking bolts. All right, we are in. So you'll see how these guys just kind of mount up through the clamp. So there's some different options on how you would like to mount these. Obviously they've got the short and they've got the long. I prefer to have mine set up in the long position. It does kick the speedo a little bit forward, but what that does for me is that I like my bars to be kind of centered with the top of my fork. Some people like their bars back a little bit if you're a shorter rider. I just have learned that I really like my bars kind of centered with my fork, and that is pretty much where they'll be with the long on the previous ones that I've had in the past. So I know that I really like long forward. So stick this bolt guy down in there. Smaller of the two goes up top because it lines up and locks in place with that guy there. So you can see that there's actual grooves there, and then that's meant to kind of lock in there. And then this guy goes through the bottom. And so that's kind of cool because this, I believe, is a 17 mil. Makes it really easy for you to grab on the bottom when you're snugging everything and getting it all nice and tight. So you just come through the bottom there, come through the top there, get your throttle cable out of the way. I can tell that it's biting down in there right now. So that is a number 8 Allen. Just put that guy there. That guy back in there. And now we know we can just kind of hold that bottom guy. And like I said, once again, there's short, long. I like mine forward because I like my bars to be exactly as close to centered with the fork as they can be. That's just the riding style that I like. Some people like them back further, like I said, but I like them like that. So hold this guy on the bottom. Lock in place. I mean, they can't move that way, so that's kind of cool. Click them there. Lock that guy in place. Throw your bolt all the way through. Keep that guy to the side. Now we remember this was a tight fit because there is one of the headlight wires is right there. Get that guy started. A little bit because I want that wrench to grab right on there. So I'm going to kick it to the side a little more because I want there to be no issue with that headlight wire. I want to be able to grab on with a 17, and I'll leave a little bit of slight play there, slight play there. So they've got some really cool upgrades that you can purchase from them. Things like these bolts. These are titanium bolts, and not only they're super sick looking, but they're lighter and stronger. Look at that. So you get these guys here. Those titanium bolts already look so sick on there. I'm actually gonna put this under my bar because I don't want to have a chance to scratch anything on the Mako there. Being brand new, we obviously like to keep stuff pretty, right? So those are 10 mil bolts there. So you can just kind of run them down, get them slightly snug, and these are going in super smooth. If you have issues and it's starting to feel like it's cross-threading for any reason, then obviously you don't want to mess around with that there. So that causes that thing to be completely straight. When you snug these guys down, the Mako's lined up. So that's the cool thing about that. And now that you got these guys just snug, doesn't have to be overly tight by any means. Then you get these guys and you come in here with your Allen and snug down there and get your 17, and you basically just get these guys nice and snug there. Boom. I left room for my 17 to fit on there. They're kind of slightly at an angle. This guy a little snug there. Everything looks nice and straight because this guy is on there, and that makes everything line up nice and straight. So put a little bit of torque on these guys. The torque specs for me, I have never checked torque specs on these bolts. I just kind of get them nice and snug. I don't go overly tight. Never had a problem with coming loose. I don't put Loctite on them. I don't believe that you're recommended to do so on Mako's website or in their instructions. And so I do not put Loctite on those guys. Those are nice and snug there. I've done these a fair bit of times, and so I know that I have my 17 mil kick to the side so that this 17 goes on there nice and easy, and then I'll snug this guy up. Boom. There we go. Starting to feel good. Too tight. I believe it might be 50 foot-pounds, but I'm pretty good with my hands knowing where I want something to be, and that feels dang good. You get your polymers out. You've got these guys here. I believe you can put them either way that you'd like. You can put the slats up or down. I think I've always run the slats up there. So just kind of personal preference. I believe that Lance actually even says in one of his videos from way back when that you can actually just put them either way that you like. So then come crack these guys back off. Be gentle with them. Got all this nice black powder coated stuff there. Don't want to be scuffing anything up on first day, right? You can now get your shark bite in there. And so I've tried a couple different styles, different colors for stiffness. I've gone back to green now. I can't remember if it's green or yellow because I believe they do have both, but let's just call it yellow. And I believe this is just kind of standard, a little bit faster, stiffer setup, so that for maybe like an A rider, I think is what they recommend for that. So I like them to be a little bit stiff, not too wallowy. So remember what we said there? You can kind of put these guys wherever you'd like, however you'd like. Bars are getting lined up. I always just have kind of gone to default, putting them on top there. You've got your shark bite in place there. It's nice and snug in place. You get your clamp here. So it's hard to read, but that says torque first. That is the thicker side. If for some reason yours doesn't have the torque first there, that always goes on the top there. So boom, look at that. He did a little bit of the red combo to match the cone valves there, and then the orange combo to match the frame. So I really like the look of this guy, the way he's got this thing set up there. Now these you will torque. I believe it's 12 foot-pounds of torque, but first you get them lined up all nice and smooth. Make sure there's no grabbing or biting or any of that. Look at this setup. I love the way it looks already, and it's not even installed all the way. Man, these titanium bolts, I don't believe I've ever ordered these on any of my previous Mako 360s, but man, they're sick. The way they're kind of, the color of them in the light just looks good. So just get a little bit of, get them snug down a little bit. Each one, boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Get them nice and down, but not too tight. Oh man. This is coming out better than I imagined, the way this looks. And I think that Lance knows what he's doing with color combos. He's been doing it for a long time. I had a previously matte black one on my Husky Pro. But with this bike, just with all the color combos that it has, man, that thing looks slick. Man, that's good looking. All right, so one thing you gotta make sure that you do here when getting these guys kind of tightened down, before you tighten anything down here, you gotta make sure that you got your bars where you want them to be. Probably hard to see, but you can see your bar lines down in there. And I like my bars rolled about the exact distance as the actual fork. So I like my bar to be, like I said, in the center. When I was talking about why I like them forward, I like them to be centered, but I also like them to be just centered with the fork, or maybe even just slightly forward as I'm kind of pulling on stuff. So right here, this guy is centered, and I can see that it is. I can also see that it's lined up, and because of the lines, you can see that it's not too far one way or the other. So what I do now is I kind of just hand tighten these guys here. Get everything kind of hand snug. Because once I got them hand snug, then I know I'm not super far off from getting them torqued down. So these guys go, you torque these down at 12 foot-pounds or 16 Newton meters. So I got my torque wrench out, and I'll start on one end here. I'll just kind of snug them up a little bit there. Come back on this guy, snug this outer one up over here. Snug that guy a little bit, and get them kind of close there to where I can feel that they're starting to get kind of snug down. I can see that everything has stayed and not moved. Got to tell you, these titanium bolts look sick, glimmering in the light. It's got kind of like a blue hue to them, so they look good. Okay, so I can tell that they're getting kind of close, so I'll go outer this guy here, get him tightened down to 12 foot-pounds. I'll come across to the far other side, 12 foot-pounds. Boom, boom. This inner guy here, boom, and that guy there, and I'll just do one more for good measure. I'll double check everything. Outers first. Done this enough times that I know it's going to be spot on. Boom, boom. One more. All right, and she's straight, right where I want her to be, lined up perfect, looking good, and getting close to being completed here. So you got 4 more titanium bolts This guy doesn't have a direction, but you do need to make sure that that torque first, that guy is there. That is your shark bite. That is what kind of one of the big parts of the system here in making sure that this thing, the bars are floating. And let me just get that guy there. So cool. Get your finger underneath there. When you're threading these guys in, be careful to thread them in right and not to get cross-threaded, because you got a piece that's moving on the bottom that's free, and a piece that's like that one. See, that wanted to kind of cross-thread, and you got one that's stationary. So really easy to kind of get these guys cross-threaded. But if you're careful and you just go with your fingers a little bit at first, you'll be able to tell that they're going. You can get your 10, get your torque wrench. That guy, I'm not ready to torque, but I am ready to get it going. So you just watch these guys climb up. Get these guys, start snugging them up. They're starting to climb up. You want to press it up to make sure that it's into the shark bite rubber there. Get these guys a little more snugged in there. All right. So like it says on the front of the shark bite, that you want to torque the first one, the top one first, the front one, the one that is front. So also again, you got 12 Newton meters. Torque this guy first. Boom, boom. Getting close. Getting close. Nice and snug. All right, we're gonna hit 12. We'll go one more close there. Boom, we got 12. And one more. One more. And I always like to double check stuff. Come back, get these guys snugged up a little bit. I like to go back and forth, get them even. Man, those titanium bolts are sick. Such a cool product, seriously. For people who haven't tried them out, you literally just got to go and give them a try, or ride a buddy's bike if you haven't ridden one with this, because they're so good. All right, we're at 12. We are at 12. So I'll come double check these guys again one more time. Boom, boom, boom. 12, 12, 12, 12. And if you want to be extra thorough, you can go around and torque all your bolts again or check them. I know they're going to be there. I've done this enough times to know, but you can double and triple check. So we know that we are now completely done with this Mako 360. This thing is the SX edition, and it's sick looking. Look at that. Got our shark bites. I got our shark bite installed. Everything looks good on both sides, I'm sure. Everything looks good on both sides, I'm sure, but you can walk around to the other side, double check. Look at that, man. That thing looks sick. Totally straight, because when you put that top clap on there, look at this thing. Man, that's good looking. Woo! xcgear, Mako 360. Lance, seriously, thanks for making such an awesome product. I have tested these things countless, hundreds of hours on all of our different bikes now, and I gotta tell you, there's not much better product out there in my opinion. You can just see the flex there it gives you, and I have the greens in there, so immediately you can tell, look at the bars flex. Just gives it that extra bit of flex. It's a rotation as well. Look at the bars, they kind of rotate. And so as you're riding all day and your arms are getting sore and you know, you're just taking a little bit of that extra just hit out of your arms. See those guys rotate there? Look at that. They just have a little bit of rotation. They have a little bit of movement. I had flex bars before these. They just were big, bulky, meaty things. This is actually a product that I think looks incredible, that is functional, that lasts a long time. I think they recommend every 30 to 40 hours to change out the rubbers, which the rubbers are really cheap. I've probably been guilty of going 40, 50, 60 hours on them, and they still felt great, but you can kind of tell when the rubbers are starting to get worn. But just look at that flex, up and down, back and side to side. It's not enough to where you notice it when you're riding. It's enough that your hands and your wrists notice it over a full day of riding. So look at this beauty on this really cool looking bike, man. I think it just goes well. He really did come up with the color combo. You got the red shark bite with the cone valves. You got the orange to match the frame and the anodized, and these two colors actually match perfect. He literally perfectly color matched those guys. So oh, Mako 360 on the 2025 KTM XCW Factory Edition, and it absolutely looks legit. This bike is absolutely coming together well. Can't wait for you guys to see some of the review videos on it after we get to riding it more. But really excited to try these cone valves out. Thank you for the custom engraving that you did for us, Lance. That's awesome. It's really cool that that's something that they offer. Guys, can't say enough about Mako 360, what this does to save your elbows and wrists over a full day of riding. And I'm imagining even up into your shoulders, because that's a rotating joint as well. So just the pressure that it takes off over. And some of the days we put in 8-hour days a lot, 6-8-hour days all the time. We've put in some 13, 14-hour, 150-mile single track rides. And if you don't have a Mako on days like that, you're gonna have some pain in your wrists and your elbows. This thing is just that good, in my opinion. That's why I wanted to kind of do an installation video on it. I wanna just share my experience with how awesome they are. Really a gorgeous product with excellent fit and finish. Just think it's an awesome product. So thanks again, Mako 360. Thanks for watching our videos. Check us out, Ride-Tek.com. You also have a chance to win this gorgeous Husky TE 300 Pro 2025 model by buying a sticker or a shirt off of our website. And thank you so much for watching. Wish you a great day, and we'll talk to you next time.